This is question 5 on problem solving from the 2014 BMAT. So we're told that on this floor design, each tile has 3 black squares. And on the floor, the black squares cannot touch edges or corners. And so therefore, which of these tile options can be used to fill the space while following this rule? So firstly, this might seem daunting because of course we can rotate any of these tiles to fill in this gap. So that would mean each tile could fit in 4 different ways. But is this true? Well, notice that each tile has a black square in this corner. And if we put it in here, where can this corner go? Well, there's actually only one option, because if it were any of these 3 corners, then it would be touching a black square. And we know black squares cannot touch edges. So the only way around they can go is this way around. So all I've done here is rotated each of the tiles anti-clockwise 90 degrees to put this one in the correct corner. So this should make it a whole lot easier to spot which one of these can fit in that gap. So without further ado, let's drag each one in turn into the gap and see if we're following our rules. So starting at the top left, let's drag each of the tiles in turn into the middle and see what they look like. Obviously you can't do this in the exam, but you could just sketch the black squares in the correct spaces. So does this look like it would work? Well, we're told that the black squares cannot touch edges or corners. Is this happening here? Well, in fact, these 2 are touching across a corner, so this one won't work. So if we move on, what happens if we drag this tile into the middle? So now you can see that these 2 black squares are touching across an edge, so it looks even worse than it did before, and we know this can't fit the design. Now what about this third tile? If we drag it into the middle, do we see any problems? So this time, again, you can see that 2 black squares are touching across a corner, and we know that this won't do. So let's cross this one off too. Now moving on. Are there any problems here? So again, we're touching across a corner. So let's cross this one off. So how about this one? If we drag it into the middle, what does that look like? So this time, again, we've got the problem of 2 black squares touching across a corner. So let's cross this one off. Moving on to number 6, if we drag it into the middle, are there any problems? So yet again, we've got 2 black squares touching across a corner. Now surely we're almost there. If we drag this one in, what do we see? So no 2 tiles are touching either across a corner or across an edge. So it looks like this is our correct tile. So this is our final answer of the only tile that can be used to fill the space, and this corresponds on the question paper to G.